It's the Cannon Sports Podcast. On today's episode, we're joined by the head coach of the St. Francis High School football program, Dean Herrington. Welcome in, everybody, to the Cannon Sports Podcast, coming to you today from St. Francis High School in La Cañada, the home of the Golden Knights. I'm Phil George, and joining us today, he's the head coach of the St. Francis High School football program. He's a 9-time CIF champion, a 2-time state champion, head coach Dean Herrington.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, welcome to the show. Before we get started, you want to give everybody a brief introduction, tell everybody about your background in football?
Yeah, I come from a coaching family. My two brothers coach at Hart High School. Actually, my brother Rick was my head freshman coach when he was 18 years old, and started coaching while I was still going to college, lower levels at Hart, and then coached with my brothers for 12 years, 1 year at Bellflower, and then 11 years at Hart, and just a great time. And I decided to move on after the 2000 season. Went to Occidental College for a year as offensive coordinator. Then moved to College of the Canyons for 4 years as their offensive coordinator. Then took the job at Alamany High School in 2006, head varsity job, and then was there for 10 years. And then left and went to Paraclete for 5, and then came here last year at St. Francis, and just loving it here.
Well, we're happy to have you. Looking forward to learning more about you, learning more about your program. Let's learn a little bit about your offensive scheme. So you've been known throughout your career as an innovator on the offensive side of the ball, and your offense, you run the run and shoot.
Yeah, it's a variation of it. I hate when you get tagged with certain things. We're a multiple option route passing game. When I first started Hart, first of all, I was when I saw this, I went to the LA Express Denver or Houston Gambler game. It was either 1985, 84 or 5, I forget. Actually took Jim Bonds. He was my JV quarterback, and we went to the game, and they combined for like 1,000 yards passing. Steve Young was against Jim Kelly, and Jim Kelly was running the run and shoot. Jack Pardee was the head coach. Mouse Davis was the offensive coordinator, and never seen anything like it. 4 receivers and quarterback throwing it almost every down. And so I just came intrigued with it and started watching their games. And I would just take some plays off the TV, and started doing it with our JV team at Hart.
Well, so at the time, it was something that was so new to you. What was kind of the dominant way of thinking for offensive coordinators in the league that time? What was kind of the dominant offensive scheme at the time? Most everyone was running the ball, play action and, some drop back pass, but it was most teams were predominantly running the football. And I had a lot of coaches tell me that I couldn't, I might work on JVs, but it won't work on varsity. So we started doing it with our JV team. We went undefeated for 4 straight years at Hart. And then Jim Bonson, my quarterback in 84, the first year we started doing it. And then went to Bellflower. My brother Mike didn't get the head job at Hart, and so he took the head job at Bellflower in 1988. So we went out there and couldn't really implement it all because their leading receiver the year before had like 9 catches, so they never really threw the ball. But we did some stuff and got better at it. And then the following year we were back at Hart, and my brother got the job late, so we didn't really have a summer to do a whole offense and install it. So we started slow with them. And then, the 1990 season, we didn't think we had the personnel to do it. We had a new quarterback, so we were a little more run-oriented. And then we went 0-2 to start the year, so we scrapped it, said, forget it, we got to do what we're going to do. And so then we started going 4 receivers, and our quarterback Ryan Connors put 2 straight years, broke the state passing record in 91, threw for 4,000 yards, and then it just kind of took off after that. Well, so, by your own admission, it was kind of going on a limb at the time to implement that at the varsity high school level. You got a little bit of pushback despite having success with it at the JV level to such a high degree. What made you so confident that was something that could work and be sustainable at that level?
It's just, matchups. And back then, people didn't do it. So defenses really, they do one of 2 things. They would try to drop 8 guys and make you run the ball, or they would blitz everybody, So if you have a plan for that, you can attack that. And, we're getting big plays, and, the kids love it. And when you start a high school program, you say, all right, I want the quarterbacks over here, the running backs over here, the receivers over there, and the linemen over there. Well, you look, you have 30 receivers, you know what I mean? So and it's always tough to find that great fullback. That great fullback's a great linebacker. That great tight end's a great defensive end. So it kind of helps personnel-wise, to have 4 receivers out there. And at the time, so that's part of our philosophy, and that's what we did.
Now, you said that you've had to make modifications to the system over the years. Obviously, the game changes. You have to adapt to it. And, you kind of bristled when I said run and shoot so explicitly. You don't like getting boxed into that label. So, one of my questions is, obviously, you have your general scheme that you like to run. But, unlike the NFL, where you can sign free agents, trade for players, specifically grab guys that fit your scheme, or college, when you can recruit those players or grab them through the transfer portal, how do you make sure that you have the right players year in, year out to run the scheme that you want to run without the ability to as carefully curate your roster as you can at the college or pro level?
Yeah, you got to do it. You can't just put a square peg into a round hole, whatever that saying is. If you don't have the guys, like last year, when I got here, we were really thin at the receiver position, and I had to move my backup running back and third string running back to receiver. So we weren't very receiver dominant here, and we had a big line. We had a good running back, so we ran the ball. We ran the ball like I've never had before, because that's what we had to do. That's the talent of our team. So we had to play to our strengths. Those kids, they went away from their position, went to receiver, did a good job for us, had some big catches for us. But that's what we had to do last year to be successful. This year, we got some new receivers, and, we're able to do what we wanted, what I like to do. But nowadays, you have to be balanced. Defense have gotten so much better over the last 20 years. They know how to play. They know how to, disguise coverages. And so you can't just be, you can't do one thing. You can't just run the ball every play. You can't just pass the ball every play. So that's what we've kind of evolved to, that we think we have a really good running game that goes along with our, our passing game. So, this year, the first 2 games, we did really well offensively. Last week, we didn't do so hot. I give Milliken a lot of credit. They have some great athletes on that side of the ball. But, we still got, 28 points on the board. But it's just nowadays, you better be able to do both. You better be able to run and pass, or you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, and we'll get into this year's team specifically a little bit later in the show. As far as, your career as a whole goes, you have had a great deal of success with your offense and your entire team performance pretty much everywhere you went. We talked about that tenure at Hart, 7 CIF championships there between your time as a member of the offensive staff and the offensive coordinator. And you put a couple of guys in the NFL from that team, right?
Yeah. So, Kyle Boller, he was state player of the year in 1998 at Hart. Threw for just under 5,000 yards, set the national record. He held it for a week. A guy from West Virginia beat him. But he went to Cal, then became the 19th pick in the draft in 2003, I believe it was, for the Ravens. And then was in the NFL, I think, 9 or 10 years. And then Matt Moore, who didn't get drafted at Oregon State, signed as a free agent with the Cowboys, was a late cut, and then got picked up by Carolina and ended up, I think, starting 5 or 6 games as a rookie that year. And then went to the Dolphins, had a couple good seasons there, then was a backup for a long time there. And then, he was done playing more or less, and he started coaching with my brother at Hart a few years ago, and then got a call from Andy Reid 5 a.m. and their backup, Chad Henne, broke his ankle last preseason game. So they brought Matt in, and lo and behold, I think 6 weeks later, with no training camp or hardly any reps, Mahomes goes down and he has to go in and play. Funny story, he said that Mahomes goes down, Matt was having to go in, and Andy Reid looks at Matt and says, "Well, can you still play this game?" And Matt goes, "Well, we're about to find out." So, but I think he was in the league 13. He's not officially retired, but he's been, I think, was in the league 13 years as someone that wasn't drafted. That didn't happen very often.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the careers that some of these guys have been able to put together from an undrafted standpoint, backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna make you feel good as their high school coach.
It's so much fun going to games. I went to a lot of Kyle's games with his family, and then I was able to get to 2 of Matt's games. In both games, he got concussion, got knocked out. So yeah, I wasn't allowed to go anymore. But I also have Vernon Adams, who was my quarterback at Alamany, that was at Eastern Washington, had an unbelievable career there. Then I went to Oregon, was a grad transfer, and had a great senior season. If he wouldn't have had some injuries, he might have been in the downtown athletic club. That's the kind of year he was having. But he was with Montreal signed a great contract after last year, and then just got traded. Now he's with the British Columbia Lions, so which is nice for him. It's closer to, he lives in Washington, so it's close to his home.
You still keep in touch with those guys?
Yeah. I texted Vernon, last week when this all happened. So yeah, he's excited about the move, and he'll get a chance to play probably on, I think they play tomorrow.
Awesome. So you had several more stops after Hart, and we can really take the whole show and run down all of your accomplishments. But I don't think you have that kind of time. So we'll go through a few of them. You were the head coach at Alemany. You had 7 league titles in the program's only CIF championship appearance. Another couple of CIF titles at Paraclete. You had 2 state titles at the collegiate level as well. So, from your perspective, what are some of the most rewarding experiences during your early career as a head coach?
Well, Hart was so much fun being able to, my brother Mike was the head coach and special teams coordinator. My brother Rick was the defensive coordinator. I was the offensive coordinator, and to coach, at our alma mater and, have the success we had, that was a lot of fun. But then going to College of the Canyons, had a great time there. We lost 4 games in 4 years and made a state championship appearance, and then won the state championship and national championship in 2004. That was, had some really good players there. Then went to Alemany, and they were struggling a little bit. Wasn't the coach's fault. The coach before me was Ted Corcoran, our offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator here. He didn't have a whole lot of help there with the prior administration. And then a new principal came in and made athletics a priority. And after a first rough first year, we kind of got it going there a little bit, and probably got it going too good because we got put into Division I my last 5 years there. I'm proud that we made the semifinals in Division I twice when I was there. No other Valley school can say that they did that, and lost a tough one to Servite in 2010. Vernon Adams' senior year, we were 12-0 and went in there and lost. They were the defending champion, lost to them 28-21. But then went to Paraclete and had started the year 0-3. We really had a tough schedule, but the kids bought in. We ended up making a great run, and then won the CIF championship, won the state title at home. It was a great experience. Just was really happy for the kids because the last 4 CIF title championship games Paraclete was in, they lost. I think that was 4 out of the last 5 years before I came there. So to get over the hump and 4 divisions higher than what they have ever been in. So that was a great experience there. And then just coming here, taking over for Jim Bonds, who I coached at Hart and was one of my best friends. It's a little surreal, but it was an honor to come over here. I knew a lot of his assistant coaches. I knew it was a great staff. So, and then last year we had just a great year. I ran into a buzzsaw that last game, but it was just very rewarding.
Awesome. And like we've talked about, you've managed to find success at every stop you've made. But what sticks out to me is that they've all been different in their own way. You were fortunate enough here to join a program in St. Francis that had a very strong tradition, very rich winning culture, and that is largely in part due to the contributions of Jim Bonds. We've talked about him a little bit so far. We're going to go into a little bit more of his legacy later, but Alemany and Paraclete, that presented a different challenge of kind of rebuilding a program in a sense, or taking it to even new heights. We've talked to a couple of coaches who've had that experience. John Ellinghaus, who essentially is the architect of the Sierra Canyon program as it exists today. Ray Fenton, who did the same at a school in Nevada that he was a part of before going down to Los Alamitos. So that's obviously can be such a rewarding experience, but not without challenges and difficulty. How have you gone about approaching the different positions that you've been in, depending on the situation of the program at the time, where they were, what they needed?
Yeah, at Alemany, the facilities were horrendous. So with the principal and, we had a booster club, started raising some money to build a new locker room, build a team room, to get a weight equipment. It was fundraising was part of the job there. And luckily I had my booster club president, Jane Austin Lott, was just great there. Her son was a quarterback there my second year. And then when he graduated, she stayed on to help. And she was fabulous to help raise money. But that was a tough deal there. And at Paraclete, same type of deal. We needed upgrades in the weight room, and our practice field was treacherous. It was not safe to practice on. We couldn't practice on it the last 6 games of my first year there. But the following year, we got it resodded, and it was one of the best grass fields around there for a couple of years. Here, everything's in place. I don't have to fundraise. They've told me, we'll get what you need, unless it's too much, and everything I've asked for here, they've gotten for me, and it's just a special place. I mean, when I tell the coaches I have to fundraise, I don't have to fundraise. They don't believe it. That's usually part of the job, but it lets you focus on all the other stuff that you need to do to run a good program.
Yeah, and that's a common theme that's come up on the show with a lot of the coaches that we've talked to, is that it makes such a difference with the administration buys in to the program and really commits and makes it a priority. Those are a few of the buzzwords that the coaches that we've had on here have used. What does that mean, though? How does that buy-in, how does that commitment manifest? Is it just as simple as dollar signs, or is there more to it?
Yeah, I mean, they have a booster club here that does just a fabulous job. You look at the facilities here; they're probably top 10% in Southern California, I would guess.
It's an amazing campus here. If you haven't come to a game here, you should check it out.
Yeah, it's in the atmosphere here at home games is second to none. Matt Moore came to a game last year, and he's played in front of 85,000 people. Was in the Super Bowl, and he just goes, I can't believe the atmosphere here. This is unbelievable, So, and we're excited. We finally get to be at home this week. We've been on the road for 4 weeks counting our scrimmage. So, but it's just the support. I mean, it's second to none. All the other coaches here on campus, we all get along. We share athletes. It's a great place.
So getting now into your tenure at St. Francis, and it's really impossible to talk about St. Francis and the program here without mentioning the legacy of Jim Bonds. Like I said, we've talked about him already a little bit. He was the head coach of this program for 20 years before passing away in 2020 after battling cancer. A 4-year quarterback for the UCLA Bruins. And like you alluded to, he's so much more to you than just your predecessor and the guy that you came through the ranks within the football community. Tell me about your relationship with Jim Bonds, what he meant to you and what he meant to this program and community.
Yeah, well, I was the quarterback at Hart High School in 1980-81, and then Jimmy's brother Tom was the quarterback in 82-83, won a CIF championship in 83. And then Jimmy was the quarterback 85-86. 85, they lost to Muir in the CIF championship game, and then his senior year, they beat Temple City in 86 for the CIF championship. So we were close. Actually, my brother Rick and I coached Jimmy's 8th grade basketball team. His dad didn't want to coach, and another player's dad didn't want to coach. They had us coach his basketball team. So not many people know that. But he right at his first year after he graduated, he coached with us at Hart for a year, and then got the offensive coordinator job here for Bill Riddell. I think that was 93 here. And was here 3-4 years, I believe, and then was the head coach at Alameda High School. So, we golfed together, went to Vegas together, went to concerts together. Really close. And then he became the coach here. And then I got the job at Alameda in 2006. So he came here, and one of my things I'm most proud of is I haven't been shut out at calling the plays ever. So and he could have that year in 2006. We were losing 41-0 or something like that. And he brought the backups in. We were able to go down and score against the backups. But and then we played each other for 4 years. We were in the league 4 years in a row, I believe. And then we got moved out of the league, and then didn't play each other. And then we couldn't find a game for like week 7 or whatever in 2018 and 19. And we don't like playing against each other. I don't like playing against them, and so. We couldn't find anyone, so you want to play? All right, we played. So we played him for 2 years there. But it's very surreal coming here, taking over for him. He did such a great job here. We would talk at least once a week throughout the season, and just proud of what he accomplished here. Not only the wins and losses, but just the culture he created for the football program, and they did it the right way, and more proud of him about that than anything else.
So in addition to the impact that he had on you and so many others that loved him. What is the culture that he created here, and what's his lasting legacy? I mean, the field out there is dedicated to him. His name is on the scoreboard. What is his lasting legacy here at St. Francis?
He had a quote here that I think is perfect about the program. Was that I'll probably get this wrong, but it's amazing what you can accomplish when you don't worry who gets the credit. And I think that really sums up the football program here at St. Francis. And hopefully you learn some of that from, playing at Hart. But, he was, it's the team, we have the saying, team first here at St. Francis. No one's bigger than the team. And I think that's, something of all the sports here that we pride ourselves on. We don't want you to be an individual. We want you to be a teammate, be a good teammate. And, everything's for the team.
That's a great mindset. So in addition to the gravity of succeeding a close friend of yours and somebody who was considered a giant in the coaching industry, this job in particular at the time that it became open was really one of the more coveted jobs in Southern California. Now, obviously at the time, your resume spoke for itself, and certainly nobody can dispute your qualifications for a high-level job like this. Do you think that your relationship with Jim and how close you guys were played a role in the hiring process?
I really don't know. That's something you'd have to ask our administration. I know I called his wife, Tricia, and I called Tom. I just wanted to, kind of wanted to make sure they thought it was okay if I applied for it. And they were all, thought it was great that I would. I don't know. There's a process, the interview process. I think there was 12 or so people in the process, and hopefully I did well in the interviews, and I'm sure they called around and, get my background, ask about me or whatever. And hopefully no one talked bad about me, but, it all worked out, and I was super excited to come here, and, so hopefully we can keep it rolling.
And in this now, your second season with the program, what are some of the ways that you strive to carry on that legacy that he left?
Oh, just, kept the coaching staff. I think everyone stayed except for one person who got a different job, so he couldn't coach. But the varsity staff, some of them been here over 20 years, they do a great job. Great job. I'm lucky to have 10 assistant coaches on the varsity, which not many schools get to have. So, I just keep it going. Like I said, don't screw it up, implement some of the stuff I believe in, and, just try to make the school proud. And, we want to win games, but we want to win games the right way. And I think that's part of the, what draws kids and what draws parents to want to send their kids here.
Well, and you have certainly been winning games. We'll go ahead and catch everybody up on how last year finished and how we've started off this year. So last year was your first league of the Angelus League that included Loyola, St. Paul, and Crespi. The league added Cathedral and Paraclete this season. You nearly won your 10th CIF championship last year, reaching the Division IV title game. Ultimately, that was Long Beach Poly that took home the title that year. But it was the deepest postseason run for St. Francis since 2017, and you have a bunch of returning talent now coming back to this year's team. So now a few weeks into the early season here, what was the focus of your team through summer training camp, and what has stood out to you during these first couple of weeks?
Well, we got a few new kids here transferred in. We got some receivers that came in, which we needed. Two of them I didn't even know they were coming here. One came up to me the first day of second semester. I didn't even know he was coming here, but so that helped. So that I was able to implement more of what I want to do as far as offensively. We know defense. We were going to be young. We lost 8 starters on defense. So that's our summer. We wanted to get those guys going, and they've struggled a little bit early in the year, which we kind of figured. We've faced some pretty good offenses though. And just in practice, you can tell them starting to get it a little bit more. So I think when it's all said and done, I think we're going to be just fine on that side of the ball. Our coaches do a wonderful job, and I'm sure it's frustrating for everyone right now. We're giving up a lot of points, but there's things I see that things are getting better, and we just got to stay with the process. There's no offense versus defense, because a lot of our offense guys play defense. So we just got to just keep it going. We're fine. we have a pretty tough non-league, have a tough game against St. Pius Matthias this week, another, very athletic team who's actually ranked higher than Long Beach Millikan is. But, we worry about ourselves, and we just want to get better. We want to cut down the middle mistakes. We want to, execute on offense. And, I think our defense is coming around. Our special teams have been playing really well. We had a rough first game. The last 2 games, our special teams have been great. So, I think when by the end of the year, I think we're going to be right there.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you've faced the 2 losses this year have come against 2, very high-powered offense. You had West Ranch and Ryan Staub, the Colorado committed quarterback. Millikan, they've got a trio of 4-star prospects on offense. So, 1 and 2, but 2 road losses against some very high-level opponents. And you guys are still scoring in bunches. You're averaging 40 points a game, and Jack Jacobs is having himself a heck of a season. Talk about what he's been doing.
Yeah, he's played well. His first pass attempt of the year got intercepted for a touchdown. Then ever since that, he's hasn't come close to throwing an interception. He's played played the position really well. He had a great game against Miracosta. He can run the ball even for a big kid. And it's all new receivers for him. They're seniors, but he played. One kid played last year, Jet McCullough, but he played 1 game because he broke his collarbone earlier in the year. He started the Long Beach Poly game, so it takes a while for them to gel. Even though we have spring and summer, but it's not real football. I see some great things. We're going to get better offensively, and Jack's getting more comfortable. He trusts now. He trusts the receivers to make plays for him. He's not worried about them being wide open to throw the ball. He's throwing them open. He's throwing on the break. And, it's just, like I say, I'm really excited with this team. We're 1 and 2, but like I said, I think we're going to be just fine when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and another group of position players that I want to talk about is your offensive line. They really deserve a lot of attention, especially this year. And we were joking before the show that it's, not very often that offensive linemen specifically get a call out on this show, but we're going to call out Rayson Delgatti and Philip Ocon. They've been 2 of the best in the state. I mean, how much of a game changer is it to have, 2 guys like them up front protecting your quarterback?
Yeah, they're amazing players, and they should have offers from every Pac-12 school. That's how good they are. It's Rayson Delgatti. He's a senior. Got offers from Arizona State, Nevada. I think Northern Arizona. Bryant just offered him Bryant University, and I can't remember either one of them giving up a sack. That's how good they are, and their run blocking. They finish blocks, and I think they try to have a contest on who gets the most pancakes, but they finish blocks. They have great effort. They're having to play a little defense too. So I'm very lucky to have those bookends there. They're like I said, they're heck of football players and good kids, and just great to have in the program.
And I know also before the show you were raving about one more player in particular, and that's Preston Jernigan.
Yeah, Preston's been phenomenal. He might be our best all-around player so far this year. He's plays middle linebacker for us, and I think he's averaging 10 tackles a game. He plays offense also. I think he had 2 touchdowns versus West Ranch. Trying not to play him as much on offense so we can save him on defense, but he can run all day, so he's probably going to start playing some more offense also.
Yeah, I mean, when you're performing at that high of a level, you kind of force the issue. I mean, I guess regardless of what the coaching staff has planned, right?
Right, yeah, and he's like I said, when coaches come watch him play, the offers are going to start pouring in for him. But again, he's a basketball player too. He's just a great all-around athlete.
So a player like that, does he figure to play offense or defense come college time?
He'll probably be defense. We have him playing inside backer right now. He's probably more of an outside backer in college. Rush the passer, and that's probably his spot now. But we need him to play in the middle for us to quarterback the defense. He's everyone wants the real 6'6" tight ends nowadays, so I don't see him going offensively. But like I say, he's got great hands. Could be an H-back also, but I think his position will be outside linebacker in college.
Yeah, as I say, it's pretty amazing, though, regardless of how he profiles at the higher levels, that we're having the conversation of, could be one of the better tight ends in the state if he played there full time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He makes plays, and he does a great job.
Yeah. So you still have one more game remaining, the long non-league schedule after this week, and you've played a super competitive schedule so far, like we've talked about. When you face high level opponents like West Ranch and Millikan on the road right out of the gate, what kind of learning lesson does that present you to be able to learn about your team and where you still need work and where you stack up by the time that Angeles League play rolls around, so that you do emerge from that on top?
Yeah, that Westridge game was it was terrible. We gave up 5 one-play touchdown drives. One play. We were just I think some of our defensive backs thought they were a lot faster than the other kids, the West Ranch kids, and next thing you know, they're by them. And had some breakdowns, had 10 guys on the field for a touchdown, didn't cover a receiver. They just threw him the ball and he ran it in. Just had a rough game. Offensively, we were moving the ball, pretty much at will. Then we lost Devin Turner, our new running back, in the first quarter. Then John Calmette came in, did a great job, and then he cramped up early in the third quarter. So we were down to our third string running back, and it just kind of really killed our offense there late in the second half. But we learned defensively we weren't very good. We needed to get better quickly. We did a few personnel changes and a few change positions. So that was kind of eye-opening. We thought we were a little better than we were on defense, and came out against Miracosta, played better, but gave up some points, but did play a little better. Some mental stuff really hurt us. And that's what's hurting us right now defensively. The mental mistakes are hurting us more than physical mistakes, which is better because you can correct those. And so I think that's, kind of, if we would have played a lesser opponent, we wouldn't have realized that, hey, we needed to really work on some things defensively. And, it's not fun losing, but I think in the long run, it's going to help us. You learn a lot more from a loss than you do from a win. So, and like I tell the guys, there's no shame in losing as long as you learn from it. And so, that's hopefully what we're doing. And they were getting thrown right back at with St. Pius. Their skill level is on par with Milliken as far as speed. So, we've got a work cut out for us.
Oh yeah, and that's the big plus of scheduling high-profile opponents in the non-league schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
So your first league game is against a familiar program, Paraclete. Like I said, this is going to be their first season in the league. They come here on September 30th. And how special of a game is that going to be for you, considering the role that you had in taking that program to new heights and winning the titles that you won there?
Yeah, we actually have 2 more non-league games. We have St. Pius this week. They have Muir the following week at home, and then we have a bye, and then we start league play against Paraclete. Yeah, it's be a little weird.
My bad. I was time traveling. By the time our viewers look at this, it'll be next week.
Right. So John Perez, who was my receiver coach, JV coach, is the head coach at Paraclete now, and then their line coach Art Lopez, who's is a great guy. I love working with him. Still coaching there. So yeah, it's gonna be a little weird. And I know a lot of the players, and but we threw against them during the last 2 summers, and I mean it's. I've been gone for a couple of years now, so it's going to be a bit different. So I mean, it's not going to be that that big a deal.
Yeah. Any other games that you have circled on your calendar as being particularly important? I mean, I know every game's important,
every league
especially when you get into league.
Right, every league game's important. It's just hopefully with that last game of the year versus Loyola is for a league championship. But we got a lot of work to do. We got Paraclete, we got Cathedral who beat Milliken. Milliken was missing their best player. Pelham didn't play that game, but they're another athletic team. With a good quarterback, really good receivers.
They've been rising in the rankings too.
Yes, they got size, and I mean we got to go there. So that's going to be a tough game, and all of them are going to be tough. St. Paul played us tough last year. Crespi played us tough till we kind of pulled away in the fourth quarter last year. So it's 1 week at a time, and you just got to survive in advance, like they say.
That's right. Some good programs that you're facing, but you got a good program here at St. Francis. Want to wish you the best of luck this weekend throughout the rest of the season. Coach Dean Herrington, thank you so much for joining us on the Cannon Sports Podcast.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for having me.
All right. And if you haven't already, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Thanks once again to Coach Herrington and the St. Francis football program, and we will see you next time on the Cannon Sports Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and follow on Instagram at Cannon Sports, TikTok at Cannon Sports Official, and of course, cannonsports.com for all your sporting goods needs.